Right to be here as well. Are we live? Are we there? Are we live? We are live. Say something, Marianne. All right. Good evening to everybody. Good evening. We are live and we're expecting people, but they're not here yet, so let's wait until they arrive. In the meantime, can you tell us where you're from and how you found out about this evening? Just type in any questions that you have and we will get going. We'll give it 5 minutes and then I'll get going. Questions. Hello, Canada. That's wonderful. Jason, good evening from Hot Durbs, just at the 100 days. How awesome, Jason. How are you feeling? Let us know. Type your story up there. Let some people get something. Carla, hello from Cape Town. Hello from Kales River. Good evening. I'm going to give it a couple of minutes before we get going. Everybody just logs in. Tell us any stories, successes that you have, why you phoned in tonight, anything on your mind, any questions you may have. Just pop it in the box and I'll try and answer it, or at least just say hello. Sandra from White River, Mpumalanga, Yolanda Ridge. Oh, hello, Yolanda. Haven't seen you heard from you for years. Dessa, hello, Southern US. Joined the 365. Fantastic, Dessa. Yeah. Welcome to the 365. For those of you who don't know what the 365 is, I will speak about it again. But it's our new program that we've launched this week. We've been testing it for the last couple of months. I've been working on it for the last couple of years, and it's the program that follows on from, well, anybody can do it, but it's a year-long program. And during that year-long program, we do 4 detox periods every 3 months. You can join anytime. I take you through the detox in March, June, September, and December. But if you want to do it at other times, you can. There are different programs to choose from. You get 4 recipe books. We do look at 12 body systems, and we look at 12 pillars of health. And you get an email from me every day. And every week we do a Q&A session. And people are like so shocked at what it's costing because it's so little. And although it should be $10 a day, it ends up being $1 a day if you're international, and it ends up being 4 Rand a day for South Africans. So it's very, very little for an entire year of support, and it helps you getting running in a track. And of course, we've got the 30-day detox and the 100 days to health. 100 days to health is people that haven't a clue what to do with their health. They don't know which end to start, and they're scared. They don't like change. That's a great program for families. You do it so slowly, nobody even notices they're changing. But then they start feeling good. 30-day detox are for the radical people who want to just sort everything out, okay? Good evening. We've got lots of people logging in now. Good evening from all over the place. And then the 365, I will speak about it again at the end. That's our new program, and it's for an entire year. You work with your facilitators, or if you don't have a facilitator, we put you in touch with the facilitators, and then you facilitate you in touch with them every day, and you're in a group. So you form a group and you share. I don't love watching the groups. These people are posting things about the food that they're making and the healthy desserts they're making and the successes they're having and the questions they need to ask. It's so amazing to actually watch them. I get goosebumps reading what I see in the groups. And then once a week, the Monday nights we do the detox Q&A. Tuesday nights we do the 100 days to health. Wednesdays we do, that's in the evenings in South Africa time, we do the 365. And once a month we do a free webinar. The 360, if any of the groups get too big from other countries, if we have more than 50 people from one country, we will start a group at a time that suits them. So we will be probably the 365. It's already so popular and it's been open for 2 days. And we'll probably end up making groups for Australia, the UK, the States, and also for South Africa. So welcome, everybody. We've got people from all over the world, all over the place, from Plumstead here in Cape Town. Linda Potgieter was introduced Dessa Patton, fantastic. Carol Ackerman from Durban. Sharissa Nissen, oh, hi, from Australia. Many years of doing natural way on and off. Well, Sharissa, you've got to get onto the 365 so you stay on. That's what the 365 keeps you on a track for life. After that, you won't stray. We've got Len and Tammy from Pretoria, Verity Brieske from Johannesburg, Nicole Barry, Johannesburg. Carla Powell, sounds amazing. Hello from the Philippines, Melanie, fantastic. Uta, good evening to you. Jeanette van der Merwe, Cape St. Francis, and we've got Didi from Durban, Janie from rural KwaZulu-Natal. Welcome, 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 everybody. I'm going to get going because I don't want to keep you. We're already 5 past and we need to get going. I've got basically an hour. I know some people are going to go to the Chrysalis training tonight. So just let me find my place over here. All right, so tonight the talk is titled Sex, Drugs, and Cinnamon Rolls. And my darling husband came up with this title. And I'd been so frustrated over the years, literally watching people's marriages and relationships fall apart and knowing they were both on antidepressants or anti-anxiety medication, or they were consuming alcohol on a regular basis, or they were just eating unhealthy diets like sugar addicts like myself. They may have been addicted to tea and coffee. So I'm going to tell you mine and Mark's stories, and Mark will actually join in a bit. So as well, he's also answering some of your questions as we go along. So we're doing this as a team, and this is something we've worked at. It's one of the things that really, this talk's our favorite talk of all talks. And because it's something so close to our hearts. And you've got to look at our marriage. We've been married now for 44 years. 1st of January this year was 44 years. And we have 3 grown-up daughters and 5 grandchildren. And we should have been divorced a long time ago. The first 8 to 10 years of our married life was absolutely shocking. Mark was married to somebody who seemed to be permanently premenstrual. I would scream and shout and throw things around and trash the house and got very close to trashing my family. I suffer from horrible mood swings. I was either on an unnatural high or an unnatural low and completely depressed and wanting to kill myself. So it was not a pretty picture at all. Mark, on the other hand, had these strange moods, and his grandmother told me that his grandfather, they lasted for 2 to 3 weeks. He wouldn't speak to her, and she would be on her knees begging and say, Tom, please speak to me. What have I done to you? And I found myself doing the same thing with Mark, but thank God it only lasted 3 days. He wouldn't talk to me for 3 days. Have I done anything wrong? What have I done? Of course, I've done lots of stuff wrong because I probably trashed the house and he didn't know what he was dealing with. But he can tell you a little bit about that later on. So I was diagnosed as being bipolar and told I had to go on to medicine called lithium for the rest of my life and that I had a chemical imbalance of my brain. Having grown up in a home where my mom didn't give us medicine easily, and she said there was lots of side effects to medicine, we must be careful of it. Although she smoked a pack of cigarettes a day, she wouldn't let us drink fizzy cold drinks or chew gum or read comic books. She said they made us stupid. So, I had this thing that drugs were going to, medication had side effects. So I went into the pharmacy. There was no Google in those days. I couldn't just go online and Google it. There's no internet. Couldn't even ask, other than phone a buddy. I went into the pharmacy and I asked them for the insert for the medicine that had been prescribed. I said, I want to read that first. And the things that were on there were liver, it would affect your liver, your kidneys. It could, a whole lot of side effects. You can check it out. But the thing that stopped me taking it more than anything was that it would make me gain weight. And at the time, I was actually underweight. I was too thin. So I was skinny and crazy. And I come from an overweight family where virtually every woman over the age of 30 is basically overweight. And I had been overweight as well. So I was terrified of putting on weight. I wasn't going to take this drug. And I literally cried out to God and said, please help me. I've got to find a way. And I did. I realized that, things came to me, and I can only say, I hate saying God spoke to me because there was never any audible voice, and it sounds like I'm some religious lunatic. But you just get this still, quiet voice in your mind and in your heart, kind of in your spirit, that just is, what would Adam and Eve eat if they were craving something sweet? Now, I used to go and eat really sticky things. I used to make my own fudge with condensed milk and brown sugar because I thought that was really healthy, but it didn't make any difference. It would push my blood sugar up, cause this reactive hypoglycemia. I would want to trash the house. And it only happened sometimes, but not every time. So it could happen once or twice a month. On top of that, I was on the contraceptive pill. You're going to see some of the side effects of that. Contraceptive pill is probably one of the huge causes of divorce. I've seen many, many people get divorced, and years later the wife said, if only I'd known what the pill was doing to me, I may still be married. He was actually a good guy. He's gone on to marry somebody else and told everybody his first wife was crazy, which is what I was. I was completely crazy. We would have been divorced, and we would have been statistic, and Mark would have told everybody my first wife, she had some really good days, because I remember saying to him years later, why did you stay with me? Because if you'd behaved as badly as I did, I would have left. And his words to me was, the good time made up for the bad. And I said, gosh, I must have been really good when I was good, because when I was bad, I was horrid. But I honestly think that if we carried on and not made any changes, we would have been divorced, eh, Mark?
For sure.
You would have run up with somebody else. and just a happy person who wasn't crazy. And honestly, and now I'm a happy person. I'm not crazy anymore. And for me, it was changing my diet. The big thing for me, and if you want to know more about my testimony, it is on YouTube. You can go and subscribe and get notified of any new things coming out. But there is a testimony I've put on there. I think it's over 25,000 people have watched it now. My story of how I came out of it. But the big thing for me was I was a sugar addict, and it was affecting my central nervous system and my brain, and it was affecting my relationships. So sugar didn't affect Mark. Other things affected him. He used to get a bit moody, and we realized afterwards caffeine didn't help. What was it more, Mark?
Bread.
Bread made you really moody. That was really interesting. It also made him put on weight as well. That was interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what are your thoughts?
But what made me moody?
What made you moody, and about how bad our marriage was in the early days?
Yeah, it was really, really difficult. I had, even though I'd grown up with a sister, I'd never lived this close with a girl in my life, and I didn't understand what was going on. Came home from work, quite happy to be home, and within 5 or 10 minutes, she was throwing things at me and going on. It really was quite bad.
Embarrassing me.
So
this is not rehearsed, okay?
I'm happy. I'm happy now that we've found this way of eating and living, because we can put our finger on the problem very quickly, and we don't cheat anymore just because we're just not stupid. We've learned from our mistakes. So yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, otherwise we'd just be another divorce statistic. Yeah, that was bad. So that's basically our story. I'm going to share some other stories with some other people as we go along. But hang in there. I'm going to help you as much as I can tonight. I'll answer questions as much as I can. I'm going to give you some basics. We're going to take a look at some of the common side effects we get from medication. If you're suffering from any of these these symptoms that I'm going to talk about now, you probably find your relationships are under stress. And it's not just marriage. Your relationship with your best friend could be stressed. If you're both irritable and ratty, you could end up a friendship and years later think, what went on there? It could be with your next door neighbors. You could hate your next door neighbors. You just hate them because they irritate you. Because if you don't have enough energy, it's going to affect your relationship. So low energy, tiredness, sleeplessness, premenstrual tension, mood swings, constipation, indigestion, headaches, irregular or heavy periods, irritability, no libido, low productivity. All of this stuff is an indication that your relationships are under pressure. You may not think they are. People may just think that you are really bitchy, excuse my French. Or they may think that you are really grumpy. Or the kids next door don't like you because that man next door is really angry all the time. You could be in the work environment and you find people scurry out of the passageway when they see you coming down the passage, like, oh, Chips, here he comes, or Chips, here she comes, like she's on the prowl. So really, what happens is our health affects our relationships. It has a direct effect on our relationships, whatever kind of relationship it is. It doesn't matter. And I can tell you now that we can help you. And I know that because I'm going to read some testimonies to you, and you can see all these health issues clear up, and they say, and I think it saved my marriage. And people actually telling me I'm a nicer person, some of the people say. So we're going to take a look quickly at some of the types of medication that can cause problems. Very common type of medication that people are on is painkillers. Take it for headaches, or take it for inflammation in the knees, the back, the joints. People pop painkillers like they're Smarties or M&Ms. It's just quite frightening, okay? So painkillers are known to cause liver damage, which is not really directly going to affect your relationships, except that you're not going to be in a great health, so that can affect your relationships. I mean, people get married and they say, I'll stay with you for, sickness and health till death do us part, and then the sickness comes, and that you can't cope with the fact that this woman is in a wheelchair, or this husband's flat on his back, and he just can't function. It's not easy, okay? It's really not easy, and it's not fair to just accept that this is your lot in life, because it's not your lot in life. You can turn your life around, your health around, and your relationships around. I'll put money on it. If you follow one of our programs for 30 days, you'll see a change in your relationships and in your attitude, okay? So painkillers don't only cause liver damage, they cause forgetfulness. So you forgot to stop and get the groceries, you forgot the anniversary, you forgot the birthday, you forgot to get the dog food, you forgot
the child from school.
Yeah, you forgot to pick up the child from school. I had one of those. There were no cell phones in those days. My poor daughter couldn't phone me and say, Mom, where are you? And eventually one of the teachers was staying late, and she unlocked the office, went inside, phoned my husband. Fortunately, he was still at work. Oh my word, I was so embarrassed. Raced to the school. I picked her up at like 6 o'clock in the evening. I mean, where the heck was my brain, okay? I was really not well, okay? I looked okay, but I was not well. So besides the forgetfulness, sleeplessness, you cannot sleep, and then you take sleeping tablets, and the sleeping tablets have side effects as well. They also affect your relationship. Painkillers can also cause paranoia. That'll really help your relationships, as will depression. Painkillers are known to cause depression, okay? All of these will affect your relationships. Blood pressure medication, well, Mark was on blood pressure, wasn't on the blood pressure medication. He was told to go on blood pressure medication. And at 19, he was diagnosed with high blood pressure. He wasn't overweight, but when they looked at him, he was going into the military service, and they had to do a health history on him, and his entire health history showed both sets of grandparents were on blood pressure medication. So when he went to have his medical insurance, an insurance policy, the medical companies, in those days, they were allowed to refuse insurance if you weren't healthy. And I think it should be the same today, because it forces you to take responsibility. It really does. I mean, if you're not insured because you're unhealthy, you're going to quickly get healthy. Because today is, don't worry, I'm insured for $5 million. Doesn't matter. If I die, you get money, Or you have this dread and disease insurance. Oh, I get cancer. I've known people to get cancer and get paid out millions, and they start a business with it. Or they retire and they say, I can just goof off now. I mean, really? Medical insurance encourages us to just be complacent and just accept the pills because, I'll just exist until I die. I mean, who wants to live existing? We're actually here for a reason. Everybody has a purpose. You need to make a difference in the world you're living in. Really, we're here to make the world a better place. And you'll never be happy. And I know that, and so does Mark. You will never, ever be happy until you get to a place where you're making the world a better place. From any angle, whether it's helping people get healthy or just being kind to your next door neighbors or helping with the neighborhood kids or taking somebody's dog for a walk. Right, blood pressure medication can cause, and this is the reason that Mark won't take it and wouldn't take it. His blood pressure is completely normal. It's 100/75 on a bad day. And that is 90/60 is what a kid's is, and that's where it should stay. We think 120/80 is okay, but that's because it's normal, because that's what most people in westernized countries are, okay? So blood pressure medication, number one, top of the list, erectile dysfunction. That'll help your relationships. Diabetes. Diabetes can cause tremendous problems, and I know people who've been diabetic who've actually had no libido at all until they've changed their diet and been able to come off the medication or reduce it dramatically. Depression, that should help your relationships. Anger, moodiness, confusion, all of that, just from blood pressure medication, okay? Not going to help your relationships. It's going to have a huge impact on intimacy and relationships. Contraceptive pill, I spoke about that earlier on. Can cause blood clots and heart disease, reduced libido, cancer, diabetes, hyperglycemia, low blood sugar. So you're too tired. Come, sweetheart. No, I'm too tired. Let's go out. No, I'm too tired. That's going to really help your relationship to be tired all the time. Moodiness and depression. So here's the wife on the contraceptive pill and the husband's on the blood pressure medication. And who knows? Kids are on the painkillers. Who knows? The whole family's a mess. Or you and your friend can be on different things and it's going to affect you. All right. So it's guaranteed to affect your relationships. So medicines to use: high blood pressure, heart disease, depression, and indigestion. All of these medicines are the most common medicines that interfere with the ability to have an erection, okay? So if you're on medication for high blood pressure, heart disease, depression, or even indigestion, they can affect your intimate relationships as a man. Alcohol and refined sugar, you don't want to hear these things, do you? And you know, I've had so many people say to me, but I just had a glass of wine. Is it okay? I don't know. I don't know you. I don't know how it affects you. I know that if I had alcohol, it would affect me. But these are the things that it can do without you even realizing what it's doing. So alcohol can, and refined sugar, they have similar effects on the body. They actually, what they do is they lower testosterone levels and they increase estrogen levels. So then things like menstrual bleeding is heavier in women. If it increases testosterone, your estrogen levels, it's going to increase your menstrual symptoms, okay? So you're going to have really bad menstrual symptoms. It can atrophy the testicles. So it lowers testosterone and can atrophy the testicles. Not great. Not a great thing to do. In fact, if you're drinking alcohol or eating sugar, looking at this lowering testosterone levels and atrophy the testicles, it's actually making you not a male. Actually quite shocking. It can cause breast formation in men, and it upsets the endocrine system and reduces the libido and sexual satisfaction. So it's alcohol and refined sugar. You may not think it's affecting you, but if your testosterone levels are low and you just never feel like intimacy, something's your testicles atrophying would lower your ability to have intimate relationships. Can cause breast formation in men, which means you're actually taking hormone replacement therapy as a man. You're actually you could be becoming transgender without even realizing it. That's what it looks like. It upsets the endocrine system, which is the hormonal system, and reduces libido and sexual satisfaction in both men and women. Very, very important. What do you do if you're craving alcohol and sugar? These are the things that I teach you on the courses, and it's in my book, Perfect Health, which you may have copies. And many of you have heard me say this before, and you're going to say, oh gosh. And that's why we've put these 3 programs in place, because the 3 programs keep you accountable, because you're in a group with a facilitator and a whole lot of other people, and you're meeting with me once a week to answer your questions. And I might talk to you about something. So it helps. What the programs help, because we're doing it like this, we're actually finding that people are staying on track and they're seeing phenomenal results like we've never, ever seen in our lives, okay? And you can just get the book, or you can pull it off your shelf. It could have been there for years. You've been on the program. But you know what it's like. If you don't have a support system, and you haven't made friends that eat like you, it's really tough. Because you try and eat healthy, and then your family are saying, like, what's wrong with you? Why are you on diet? You're not overweight. You're like, well, I'm trying to improve my relationships. Well, you're not going to improve it if you're just eating differently to us. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you get. But if you're friends and connected with people that are like-minded, it makes it so much easier for you, okay? So if you're craving alcohol and sugar, the first thing to do is to eat more fruit in your diet. When you eat more fruit, you satisfy your cells' need for glucose, and you find that your cells don't crave glucose all day long. And the cells can't function without glucose. Your brain can't work without glucose. Your central nervous system can't. Your hormonal system can't. Your liver, your lungs, your kidneys, nothing can. These amazing cells in our bodies cannot work without glucose. So you've got to have glucose. And if you're not getting enough fresh fruit in your diet, or even preservative-free dried fruit, but fresh fruit is always best, if you're not getting enough, those systems are not going to work properly. And so you're going to crave sweet things, and you'll reach for alcohol or you'll reach for the candy. And both of them can cause these problems. You might think we're very proud saying, well, I'm not part of the 60 or 70% that are on medication, which was me. I'm not going to take that medication, but I was a sugar addict. And Mark had an occasional beer, but the interesting thing with the occasional beer was he'd have it on a Friday night after work, 1 or 2 beers maximum. It would take him 3 to 4 days to recover from it. And then it would be Wednesday or Thursday, and then Friday would be here again, and he'd have another beer. And he said it was only when he stopped that beer that he actually felt, he became a different person. He would be this flat, not enough energy, couldn't get up. I need this fixed, I need that fixed. It's, I'm too tired, I'm too tired. Best thing to actually increase your energy and stop with the tiredness is to exercise on a regular basis. So if you're getting the right glucose and you're exercising outdoors, you do a whole lot of things. You regulate melatonin and serotonin, which makes you sleep well at night. Instead of taking a sleeping tablet, take exercise and natural light. The sun doesn't have to be shining. You just need natural light, okay? So very important that you're getting the right diet and you're getting the exercise daily and that you're accountable. Be accountable. If you don't want to be forming one of our groups, form a group of your own and work with other people. Work with like-minded people. Very, very important, okay? Right. So if you change, what's going to happen when you change? You're going to have more energy, more libido, you're going to have balanced weight, greater productivity, better relationships. So we've been working on these programs for over 30 years. I've been working with people, studying, and I've worked one-on-one, and I've consulted with people, and I can tell you now I'll never consult again in my life one-on-one because I've seen that what it does makes people dependent on me, and they just want me to fix them. I can't fix you. I'm not your guru. I can't fix you. You can fix you. And your body's the miracle, not some doctor or some drug. Drugs just suppress symptoms. They don't solve the problem, okay? So if you create, what these programs do, they create the right environment in which your body can repair itself. That's why we're seeing these phenomenal results. But because you're all in groups, you're all encouraging each other and you're not dependent on one person. Being dependent on a doctor or a nutritionist or a friend or your husband or your wife, your girlfriend, to help you all the time is not very good. But if you're in a group, you end up helping each other. You may have been a dependent type of person, but when you're in a group, you start encouraging and helping other people, and that's good for you. You start feeling like a worthwhile person because you're encouraging other people. It's amazing because you feel so good that you stop complaining about things, that you just start encouraging and become one of a really positive-minded person. It's amazing to be there, okay? So if you don't find the cause of your problem and you keep going for therapy and spending money, and we're going for therapy and we're going for marriage counseling, we're going for relationship counseling, you can do that. But you're just wasting your money because if you don't treat your body the way it's designed to be treated, your brain's never going to get it. You're going to go to the therapy, come home, and you're just not going to be able to do it. You can be stubborn as all hell. And stubbornness, I've seen the stubbornness goes when you eat properly. Just that, like, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to listen to them. Why should I listen to them? That changes. So you could be going for therapy. I know people have been in therapy for 12 years and nothing changes. They change their diet and the husband comes home and he says, I used to come home and kick the dog. My kids would run up to me and I'd say, not now, I'm tired. And I'd go and sit on the couch and read the newspaper or watch TV. Wouldn't even greet my wife. I'd say hello halfway through supper. He says, now, nothing's changed. I got the same job. I got the same mortgage bond. I drive the same car. I got the same kids, same wife, same dog. Come home, I pet the dog. I give my kids a hug and play with them for a little while. And then I go into the kitchen. The first night I hugged my wife from behind and kissed her neck. And I said, sweetheart, what can I do to help you? Would you like me to lay the table? She nearly fell over. But let me tell you, you can go for therapy. But if you don't change your diet, it's probably not going to help you much. Unless you're a very placid person and nothing in your diet's affecting you, which is not possible. It's going to affect you in some way. If it's not your moods, it's your libido. If it's not your libido, it's your health. Something's going to be affected. It's your energy, okay? So until you find the cause, finding a cure is just a complete waste of time and money, okay? So, I look at somebody like Dr. Chris Barnard, who in 1967 performed the first open heart surgery. I was fascinated by him. We went to the heart museum, the heart transplant museum at Groote Schuur Hospital here in Cape Town with our school one year. And it's very well done, the original theatre, and they have a wax dummy model of Chris Barnard. He looks completely real. You actually want to touch him, sitting behind the desk where he used to work. And he was a very gregarious, outgoing man, and he was good looking, and women literally fell at his feet, okay? He was married and divorced 3 times, and he died alone. He died, he had arthritis. He had to stop operating because of his arthritis. When he performed that first heart transplant, he actually had arthritis, but it wasn't that bad that he couldn't operate. Literally within years, he could only instruct people in the theater. He couldn't operate anymore because his hands were in such a bad way from the arthritis. And when he died, he was in his early 70s. He died of an asthma attack. Asthma is a dietary-related thing, and it's something he could have solved. So it's really sad. I mean, here's a man that was a genius and did amazing things, and yet he was like the rest of us. He died prematurely. His relationships were not in a good place, and people might say he was a difficult man, or he was this, or he's that, the next thing. I guarantee you, if his diet was healthy and he changed his diet, his arthritis would have gone, because I've seen it happen with lots of people, and he wouldn't have died of asthma. My mom was on 5 different kinds of asthma medication. I brought her onto our property. This was just over a year ago. Fed her properly because she was in a retirement community and she was eating food that wasn't good for her. So when she went in, she was just on thyroid medication, and then it just deteriorated from there. Bladder medication, Parkinson's disease, 2 sprays and 3 kinds of asthma medication. Panic attacks, she lost control of her bladder. Literally within 3 months of coming and staying with her, her doctor helped to get all the medication. She didn't need any of it, including the thyroid meds, because she still had her thyroid gland. Her brain is working. She's in control of her bladder. Just sometimes she can't get to the bathroom fast enough, but she can control her bladder. Whereas before she would just stand there and just pee. She doesn't have those rages that she used to have. It's like, it's never too late to change. So don't say, oh, there's nothing I can do. I've already lost my thyroid and they've taken my appendix and my tonsils. I've seen an 80, that my mom is 88 now. So she was 80. It was just before her 87th birthday that she got here. I've seen a man in his 82 years old. His hands were fused like this from arthritis. He couldn't drive his car, and he so badly wanted to drive his car. Changed his diet. Came and he said, Marianne, look. He'd been on every known kind of medicine that you could take. He said, I'm driving the car again, and the physiotherapist says she's never seen an improvement in anybody like myself. 82. It's never too late to change, okay? Right. The problem is that everybody keeps looking for cures. We keep looking for something out there. Let's go, as I say, for therapy. There's nothing wrong with therapy. Let's go and take that medicine. Let me have an operation to sort my pain out. Let me do this. Instead of looking inside and allowing your body to repair itself. The most common side effects of antidepressants is depression. So you're depressed and you're going to take antidepressants. Now you're depressed. And one of the most common side effects of that depression is always suicidal ideation, ideas of suicide. It's a common cause of suicide is that the people are on antidepressants. People say, oh, they committed suicide, he suffered from depression for years. But what they don't tell you is on antidepressants, and they cause that. That's the side effect. Most common side effect of anxiety medication is anxiety. And Mark and I were in Southern California some years back, 8 or 10 years back, and we were asked by this young couple from this very big church. He was a youth pastor, and they wanted us to come and help their child who was born with a genetic abnormality, and they wanted to know what they could do to improve his diet to help him, because he would always struggle in certain areas, but they wanted to do his best with his diet. So I went and sat down with them, and they said, okay, well, let me tell you what he eats. I said, no, I don't want to know what he eats. I want to know what the family eats. Because I said, if he's not eating well, you can't put him on a special diet and you eat the same. So let's sit down and work out what diet are you on? Do you have any health issues? Are you on any medication? Turns out they're both on an anxiety medication, both of them. So I said, well, give me the medication here. Have you got the package? Yes, I took the slip out, insert, and I started reading it. And one of the side effects was lack of libido, no interest in intimacy at all, and, of course, anxiety. And so the wife started to cry, and she just got tears in her eyes, and she said, I didn't know that. And we started to talk some more, and then they began to say, hold on a second. We got some noisy neighbors here tonight. Noisy dogs, noisy neighbors. Anyway, and we live on a small holding, so you can imagine how noisy. You might not even be able to hear the dogs. It's me hearing them. All right, so what happened with this couple? We talked some more, and then they opened up, and they said, we're both on anti-anxiety medication, but we both have lost interest in each other in the area of intimacy. We're good friends, but there's no intimacy in our marriage. So they were in the mid-30s. And in fact, what's happened is we've realized now we've fallen out of love with each other, not because we've fallen out of love, but because we're both on the same medication and it's making us not interested in each other. We thought that we were going down a road where we were going to be divorced because we actually have no interest in each other. And the last I heard, they were back together and things were going well and they were in a great place. And it was just absolutely amazing. So, it doesn't matter whether you're 35 or 82, it's never too late to change, okay? And people get terrified of going with anti-anxiety medication. They're like, I'm not going to go off because I'll be more anxious. And I'm not telling you to go off your medication. I'm telling you to go and take every single drug you're on. Write it down, look it up, and put the side effects of the medication. Then go to the doctor and say, I'm suffering from these side effects. Is it possible for me to come off this medication? Look, I know many people have taken themselves off medication. It's your call, but I cannot tell you to do it. And my advice to you is go back to your doctor and say, I'd like to come off. If he says you can't come off it, there's no way your diet's going to make any difference. If your psychologist or your psychiatrist says to you, you've got to stay on the medication, the doctor told you to take it, it's your call. You look up the side effects and go and find a doctor or a therapist that will work with you to come off the meds, okay? I think it's important that you come off the medication with the help of a professional because it's going to affect your relationships, okay? The most common side effect of headache tablets is headaches. There's nothing like headaches to destroy relationships. Because even if it's your friend and you just have headaches and you're irritated all the time, you're not going to be nice to be around. Sleeping tablets, the most common cause is sleeplessness. And that, of course, will affect your relationships. I'm going to show you a graph. Can't get it up, but on the recording, Mark says you can drop this in here. So I'm just going to show you this graph like this. Can you see it there? This red one here is heart disease. That one over there is cancer. The purple one next to it down here is medical mistakes. Medical mistakes. And then it goes down from there. Down here, we've got the blue, which is diabetes. And we've got things like respiratory, that's respiratory problems there. And we've got accidents. Oh, that's accidents, respiratory problems. And then we've got a couple of things over there, okay? Interestingly, if we took colds and flu and stuck it on top of respiratory problems, we'd get the same amount of people that have died of COVID. This is in the United States, by the way. But United States is a fantastic country with statistics. They have the best stats on everything. I mean, if you've ever watched any of the games that they play, like the American football, it's the funniest thing when you listen to the radio, driving along in the car, and they start talking like football statistics. And in 1962, he did this, that, and the next thing. And 1981 and 1991, and so-and-so did this. And they're just rattling off these stats like it's not, what are these people talking about? But when it comes to medical statistics, they've got the best statistics in the world. They're always pretty up to date compared to the rest of the world. So they're just kind of a large example of what it's like in most countries where there are westernized cultures, okay? And why I showed you that, that's not even including, that's just medical mistakes, okay? Medical errors, they're calling it, okay? If we look at the stats, in westernized countries, 60 to 70% of people take at least one prescribed drug. Over 200,000, over and above that, what you've just seen there, people die annually from prescription drugs that are correctly prescribed, not mistakes. They just die from them, okay? 5 times the amount of the people that die from heroin or painkiller overdose. How's that? 5 times less people die from heroin overdose compared to people dying from properly, correctly prescribed medication. Because what happens is, and it's so sad very often, the doctor looks at your symptoms and gives you another drug for that, and then you get more symptoms and it's another drug. Now you've got 6 or 7 drugs. Mark's mother was 69 when she died. She was on 11 different kinds of drugs, all interacting with each other. Her body could not function anymore, just shut down, and she died. It was just, she said, I'm feeling weird, I'm not feeling right. We took her to the hospital, got a phone call in the morning to say, 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, she'd passed away. Her body just literally shut down from all. When I cleaned out her room, there was a suitcase this size full of medication, just like pills from 3 different doctors. They didn't even know about each other. And that's the scary part, is that it's really scary, okay? 2,460 people die each week from properly prescribed drugs, okay? 1.5 million to 2.7 million people are hospitalized from side effects annually, just from side effects. 1.5 to 2.7 million people. Now, this in the UK is interesting. 230 million medication errors are made in the UK by the National Health Services. Now, the National Health Services are very conservative when it comes to medicine, okay? Because people are paying for it. It's out, you just pay towards it with your taxes. So it's basically like free or very low cost medical services. I know a lot of countries are planning to do this because if the doctors don't have an interest in medicine, they don't prescribe so easily. So when you have National Health Services, they don't operate so easily and they don't prescribe so easily. And here in a country where you have National Health Services, where they're very cautious with medicine, 230 million medication errors are made in the UK. 22,000 people die annually in the UK. It has a population of 67 million people. In the United States, 200,000 plus die from, and I mentioned that earlier on, from properly prescribed prescription drugs, but they have a population of 330 million. So it's about twice the rate in the United States compared to the UK. Twice as many people die from properly prescribed drugs. And it's interesting because the one has the National Health Services, so there's less deaths. There was at the most recent global the Global Patient Safety Summit. It's like red lorries, yellow lorries, green lorries. What is it? And you always get tongue-tied, okay? Global Patient Safety Summit. Jeremy Hunt was one of the speakers, and he said, this new study shows medication error in the National Health Services and globally is a far bigger problem than generally recognized, causing appalling levels of harm and death that are today preventable. And it's really sad because our body is incredibly intelligent. I mean, we make 37 trillion cells in our body. Your body's just making them all day. As you're sitting here listening, you're making new cells. Your body's cleaning itself out. It's collecting waste products, putting it into the urine, putting it into the feces. You could be sweating it out. Your hair's busy growing, your liver's busy being repaired, that cut on your finger's being repaired. Your body is just continually trying to keep what's called homeostasis, this balance, and trying to keep you healthy and focused and your brain working. Our bodies are incredible, actually, that they can be abused for years and years and years, and then people only have a heart attack when they're 60 or 70. That is a miracle. Except when you speak to a heart specialist, they tell you the heart's designed to last 200 years. It should last 200 years the way it's designed. Very interesting. So we have this incredible body. It's got these mitochondria in it, and cytoplasm, and the ribosomes, and the rough endoplasmic reticulum, and the plasma membrane, and the cell coat, and the nucleus, and the chromatin, and the nuclear pore. It's got all these smooth endoplasmic reticulum. And what these cells do is they make energy. They create energy. They're making over 100,000 different types of protein in the cells. It's repairing the body. It's keeping you alive. When you put medicine into your body, it interferes with every single one of those 37 trillion cells and the way they function, okay? Now, I'm not telling you to stop your medication. Please get this straight. I'm saying that if you get healthy, your body will start to heal itself and fix itself. Your body will work properly. It put less pressure on your relationships. You'll be saving an enormous amount of money because you won't be sick. We haven't had a doctor's bill due to ill health for over 30 years now. You know how much money that is saved. You know how much stress that is saved. How many people are spending money going to the doctor? The average person in the United States spends about $6,015 a year just on over-the-counter medication. That's painkillers, anti-inflammatories, and sleeping tablets that you don't need a script for, okay? That's just that. And then another $2,000 on supplements. That's $8,000. In South Africa, you're probably looking at about anything from 10 to, I know people that have spent 50,000 Rand just trying to find solutions to their problems in a year. It's not a joke. And that shortage of money puts huge pressure on relationships. You want to have money? Get healthy. You don't need money to get healthy. You just need to get healthy. You need to just make up your mind. This is it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get healthy because even though I'm in a bad relationship and I don't really like this person, I'm going to get healthy anyway, because even if we're in the middle of a divorce, I'm going to get healthy anyway. You might find you fall in love with that person again. Who knows? But if you don't, at least you can just stay friends because you're now both sane and you're not behaving like crazy people. It's nothing like divorce to make people quite crazy. But if you're both healthy, you think more clearly. Let me tell you, I had somebody tell me today, she said, being healthy does something to your brain. It's just crystal clear all the time. And you don't talk nonsense and you don't think nonsense. She says, Sometimes I find myself listening to people talk and I'm thinking, what condition is their brain in that they are talking such nonsense like this and talking so weirdly, and they don't question anything? She said to me, they're like robots. They just kind of walk to the doctor, or they just accept everything. Just accept what the government says, accept what the educational system, don't question anybody. Just take everything that's thrown at you, and then just take some pills and sit on the couch and be a zombie. Now, I'm not saying everybody's like that, but if you are like that, it's definitely, if it hasn't already affected your relationships, it will. And getting divorced is not solving the problem. Get healthy first. And then if you still don't like each other, get divorced.
Is this where we get to talk about sex?
No, you've just been asking me the whole time. He just wants to talk about sex, but there could be people on here that like don't want to hear that, you know. They'll have to put on here, yes, please tell us about the sex thing. You can tell them just now. All right, so your body's incredibly healthy. Now you can just stay as you are for the rest of your life, or you can change to the natural way of doing things. You can keep looking for cures and spending money, or you can allow your body to repair itself. You can keep treating your symptoms, or you can correct your dietary habits. You can rely on medication and surgery, or you can start looking for answers and questions. You can never question the system. You can live under stress and fear, or you can take control of your health. You can have broken relationships and live alone and be lonely. Or you can have healthy relationships because your body's working properly. You know, the things that happen is just not only your brain and your libido, but your body odor goes. There's nothing worse than being with somebody who's got terrible body odor. I used to have it. My husband didn't even have body odor like I had. How did you put up with the body odor?
No.
No.
It was getting off meat getting off animal products was the secret to that.
And now, how do I smell?
No, you smell lovely.
He says, I smell sweet all the time. Comes near me and he says, you smell so nice. And I'm not putting anything on me. I put a bit of our essential oils cream, but even if I haven't put it, I come out of the swimming pool, he'll tell me I smell lovely. And I get this like, oh, I just love it. I don't wear perfume. People give me perfume, but I don't wear it. I don't buy it because I think it's stupid to pay a lot of money for the water in a bottle that smells nice. I mean, it might smell nice, but I won't buy it myself. That's just me. I'm too practical. It's my Dutch blood in me. I'm half Dutch, half German. It's just really practical. You know, we will not spend money on water in a bottle that smells nice. My husband, however, likes to have some aftershave. He always smells nice. He's never been a bad smelling husband, and he likes clean hands. All right, so what do you want to live? You know, you got to choose. Do you want to live the new way or the old way? Do you want to live in control? You want to live in fear? You want to save time and money, or you want to waste time and money? You want to live a life to the full with wonderful relationships, or lonely and bitter? Because that's where I was going. I was a bitter and twisted, angry woman, man. Nasty. A quote that's been attributed to Einstein, but I don't think it's from him. I've tried to find it. Insanity is when you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. But maybe it could have been him, because he was a scientist. Maybe he kept thinking after a while, I can't keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. The choice is basically yours. All right. Desiree's story. This is just, I'm going to summarize this as quickly as possible. She said, I'm on the last day of my program. It's in the 100 days and how I've changed. But not only me, my whole family has changed. What an easy and relaxing lifestyle adjustment this was. That's 100 days. It's easy, relaxing lifestyle adjustment. That's what it is. One big reason for joining the program was to reduce the amount of money we spend at the doctors. They've got 2 little girls and they were always getting sick, and they talk about how often they get sick. And she says, what does she say about this? She says, they had antibiotics, throat infections, tonsillitis, sinusitis, the family. It was my goal this year to have money left over in our medical savings at year end, and so far, so good. She said her child came down with sniffles, and even the doctor said her immune system's working really well, just leave her alone. And she said it kicked butt, she got well overnight. They were so excited about it. Her husband and her have been high-fiving each other for the whole week, okay? And she said, the best thing about it is my husband and I are in love again. Who would have thought that doing this would change our relationship? I mean, that's an amazing thing. And we find this in so many couples. They're in love again. You eat a healthy meal. You're not irritated. You're not bloated. You don't feel fat and ugly. Everything's working properly. Wonderful, okay? Lily's story as well. She says she can't remember not having health problems. Her health has slowly but surely deteriorated for years and years. She suffered from illnesses and various ailments. Sinus headaches, chronic hay fever, postnasal drip, ear infection, spastic colon, recurring throat infection, severe flu, lethargy, anemia. She said, I took the principles on the programs. I applied them and challenged and tested them. Today, a year later, I can tell you my health has never been in such pristine condition as it is now. I've lost track a few times, but get back on the right program. And she says, people find this. They do find they lose track every now and again. And they do find it when they're off the program. And that's why we started the 365, to help you stay on track. And once you've done it for a year, it's so ingrained. Your neural pathways in your brain are so ingrained that you'll never change. It's just, you'll be like that forever. She said, the benefits I say have been tenfold. I no longer suffer from any form of ailment or illness whatsoever. Moreover, this is the first year I can remember, that's 2020, not falling prey to flu of any kind, okay? Everyone around me has been dropping like flies. She says, most importantly, I'm nicer to be with, and everybody keeps telling me so. People at work. Sharon's story, she says, without even attempting to diet, the program has automatically resulted in a 4 to 5 kilogram loss in the first 4 weeks. And trust me, I eat like a horse. She goes on to tell you how, she says, I can't believe that I feel so good. Few months, but my recovery has been nothing short of marvelous. If I had a magic wand enabling me to convert the whole world to the perfect health, I'd do it. But since I don't, I can only contribute by giving you my personal testimony. I will never go back to my old habits. My new lifestyle is healthy, it's tasty, so happy I've discovered it. It's logical and it's practical, and it doesn't require unreasonable effort in the kitchen. In fact, the opposite is true. You spend less time, I'm not joking, you spend less time in the kitchen because living this way is so much easier than any other way. And you feel amazing. She says, yeah, I can only say my marriage has improved. There we go. So what are our programs? What can they do for you? Okay, they're designed to help you get your body to a place where it heals itself. That's basically it. What you do, any one of our programs will get your body to a place where it can heal and repair itself. Okay. And once you've done that, your brain starts working properly. You start saving money. There's practical steps, there's recipes on all the programs, there's facilitators, there's questions and answers. The only question you have to ask yourself is, which program am I going to choose? You can, of course, do nothing. You can say, oh, I'm not interested, this is too much hard work. Being sick is hard work, man. Really, being sick is a lot of hard work. Think of all the time and money. In fact, as an exercise, before you even make a decision, just sit down and write down how much money you spent last year trying to buy your health or trying to get healthy. Supplements, going to the doctor, the chiropractor, the therapist, whatever. Any kind of help you've been looking for. Whether it's therapy or the chiropractor or whatever. Just have a sip here. And I would hate for any of you to break a friendship or a relationship or a marriage simply because your brain's not working properly. You owe it to yourself to get healthy first before you make a decision to not be in a relationship with somebody. As I said, whether it's a friend or a next door neighbor. Don't damage the relationships. All right. So we've basically got 3 options. I mentioned them at the beginning and I'm going to mention them now. First option is the 30-day detox. It is quick, focused, and dramatic. But it's for brave people, and it's ideally for people that are not on medication, okay? Because you can't be on any supplements when you take these. You can't take vitamins and minerals and added supplements like this. Your facilitators will explain to you, and I'll explain to you in the Q&A. They interfere with the healing part of your body. Vitamin C is the safest supplement that you can take, okay? Out of the pills and powders and potions out there. Vitamin C is the safest, and it can cause stomach ulcers, gout, arthritis, kidney stones, and stomach, and osteoporosis. That's the safest one to take. So we encourage you to go off all supplementation. You get it healthy in the 30-day detox. You get a great book that tells you exactly what to have. It's emailed to you, PDF. You get a PDF copy of our book, Perfect Weight, which helps with the endocrine system. That's what it's really focused on. We can send you more details on that. You can either speak to your facilitator who told you about this. If you don't have a facilitator, go to info@wholeworldwell.com. and ask Claudia to send you any information. But you should have a facilitator. Whoever invited you tonight can actually help you as well. They'll give you more details on what's on the 30-day detox. And 100 Days to Health It's gradual, it's fun and easy. It's great to do with a family. It's great if you don't know where to start at all and you've never really been interested in health, or you're interested in health but you kind of pay lip service to it. You take some handful of vitamins and you're having some yogurt and you eat whole wheat bread and you think you're healthy. 100 days is perfect for you if you're on it. It's great to go from the 100 days onto the 30 days. That's a great thing to do as well. But once you've come off the 100 days, because you're getting an email every day, people miss that email and they want to carry on with that support and they want to carry on being able to come to the Q&As. And for that's the 365, which we launched 2 days ago, and its seats are filling up fantastically. It's an evergreen program, which means it doesn't matter when you start. You can start today, tomorrow, next year. It doesn't matter. The sooner you start, the better. You'll get well. But it deals with every area of health. It's not just, whereas the 100 days and the 30 days will deal with exercise and diet, the 365 deals with everything. There's 12 pillars of health. Yes, it's diet. Yes, it's exercise. There's 3 main pillars that we base it on: spiritual fitness. We deal with emotional wellness. We deal with stress and how we manage that. We deal with sleep. We deal with the impact that sunlight has on you, or natural light on your body. Water. We deal with all the stuff. Depression, your mind. How does your mind actually work? What do you need? So these 12 systems and 12 pillars of health. And you've got 12 detox programs to choose from, which we do 4 times a year. And I walk you through the detox programs, and you've got the facilitators to help you. So it's gentle, it's easy, but it's deeper, okay? So whereas the 30-day detox is kind of shallow, and then the 100 days is a little bit more detailed because there's more time. But the 30 days you see dramatic improvement. The 100 days you see dramatic improvement over a longer period. And the 365, you're going to change for life. It's permanent. Everything changes. My relationship with my husband just kept improving as we were working through these things in our own lives. And what we've done is we've distilled all the things that got us through. It got us through things like losing our business due to going into partnership with somebody who didn't have had no ethics at all. Having our house burned down, the COVID, losing our business, having to shut our restaurant. Just as we were recovering from the fire, we had to shut our restaurant down in Cape Town because of the whole COVID lockdown. How did we get through the stuff? When we're under stress, we eat better than when we're not under stress. Most people eat worse when they're under stress. That's when you grab the chocolates and the ice cream because you don't want to think about food. But when you've got these principles, you know exactly what to do when you're under stress. You go more extreme. You'll go on the 30-day detox when you're under stress because that really sharpens your mind, okay? You know that the best thing to do when you're under stress is to eat well, and we teach you how to do that. So that's the 365. It covers everything. You can go straight to the 365, or you can decide to go on the other programs. It's entirely up to you. We'll send you information that tells you about all of that, okay? So what I'm going to do is answer as many questions as I can. I know some people need to go at 8 o'clock because they may have booked in for the chrysalis training. And for those of you that are here, I'm going to try and answer as many questions as I can. All right. Jason says, tell us the sex part, Mark. Mark says, I remember giving my daughter some advice when they got married. You're going to laugh at this. It's not scientifically based, okay? It's just my observation. You're laughing. I remember my son-in-law saying to me once, it's the best advice you ever gave your daughter. I said to her, you got to understand something. That if men don't have sexual intimacy on a regular basis, I have a theory that the semen actually backs up in their body and eventually gets into their brain and makes them completely bedormant. Now, if you don't come from South Africa, you don't know what bedormant is. But bedormant means they are difficult, they're obtuse, they're grumpy. So I said to her, it's like a 3-day rule. They seem to be able to last, especially when you're newly married and you're young. It's like 3 days. And after 3 days, if you haven't been intimate, you could finally starting to get difficult. And then you're like, oops, okay. Because women can get so busy. And of course, if you're not healthy and you've got headaches and you're tired all the time, that's not going to help you, okay? But I do find that when you get healthy, your libido does improve quite dramatically, both men and women. So you find that it's better. What happens normally is the male can have like really high libido and the wife's got nothing, or the wife's got a lot and the husband's got nothing. And that causes a problem. He doesn't love me. She doesn't love me. Meanwhile, what she is she's just tired all the time, or he's tired all the time because he's not exercising, he's eating badly, he lives on colas and sugars and chocolates. I remember when my brother was a lot younger and he used to drive around in his flashy little BMW and his smart little suits. He was single, and I remember looking in the back of his seat one day and there was a can of crushed Coke cans and chocolate wrappers, and I was like, no wonder you speak so fast and you can't focus. I said, like, how's your brain functioning? I mean, his hands used to actually shake like this. I used to say to him, are you drinking? And he'd say, no, it just does that. I said, that's caffeine and sugar that's doing it to you. Anyway, he's now become very healthy. He had a heart attack when he was 50, and he got healthy after that. It's 10 years later, and he's doing fantastically well, exercising tremendously every day. So, yeah. What were you going to say?
Tell them about the time you left me.
Oh, I just jumped in the car and drove away that time when I was being moody.
No, because I was sleeping on the couch.
Why were you sleeping on the couch?
Because I was tired.
All the time.
Yeah, I remember in Alberton.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I remember that part. Oh, we moved up from Durban. We were staying with my sister-in-law, and Mark had done some business training, and he came. I would sit at home all day long. And this is typical of young wives. You're looking after your children. My oldest daughter was a year old, and I'm home all day in the baby in a strange suburb. I don't know these people in the suburb. I know my sister-in-law, but she's at work. My brother-in-law, they didn't have any children. I'm home all day, so all I did was clean the house and be with the baby. So I wanted to talk to somebody when they got home. He would just get home and fall asleep on the couch. Switch the news on and fall asleep, and I think, this is it. So one Saturday, he'd done business training in the morning, and he came back, and now I thought, okay, we're going to be able to talk to each other. Passed out on the couch. And I thought, I am so fed up with this. I'm completely freaked out. At that point, I don't think I was driving a car. No, I didn't have a license.
Put the baby on your hip.
So I couldn't get in the car and drive away, and it wasn't my car, it was a company car. So I put my baby on my hip while she was in the pram. And I thought, I'm going to walk. I took whatever money I had and I started walking. Really what I wanted to do was give him a fright. So I just walked and walked and walked and walked and walked. In those days you could walk around with the baby in a pushchair and nobody did anything to you. And I walked and walked and walked and walked, and I started feeling better, and I thought, well, I better go home now. But by now he's probably missed me. 2 hours later, I get home. Guess what? He's still sleeping on the couch. He didn't even know I'd left. He had no idea, but he did know. He had my wrath when he woke up. I was still on sugar in those days.
Okay.
Not good. No.
So can we talk about sex now?
You can if you want to.
Okay. All right. All I want to say is...
Don't embarrass me.
Okay. After 44 years of marriage, and we're in our mid to late 60s now, sex is better now than it's ever been. Okay. And I mean that. It really is. So...
No details. But I can agree with him. Intimacy is better now than it's ever been. It's actually scary. It's so good.
Yeah.
We're not taking anything. We don't use Viagra. We don't need anything. We don't need any help. That's the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
We're like, oh my word.
That's the
Mark's been saying to me for years, I need to speak to people about this. They need to know this. So if you want to ask him any questions, you can email him. He's not going to go into this. It's not about technique. It's not about hanging off the ceiling. It really isn't. It's just like amazing. Okay? Yeah.
The diet and the exercise definitely play a role. And whatever sacrifices and inverted commas you feel you're making to live this way, completely are worth it. Okay? Really. It's just worth it. Worth giving up beers. I can't even remember the last time I had a beer, but it's worth it. So, to whatever men are out there, that's my challenge to you. Go do the 75 hard and give up being a wuss and stop drinking.
Well, remember that alcohol can make your testicles shrink and reduce your testosterone. So it's going to affect your prowess in the bedroom. It totally is.
I'm 66 now.
67 in May.
67 in a couple of months. And I'm still riding competitive motorcycles with my grandsons. So
walking and riding your bicycle.
Yeah.
every other day. Walking one day, cycling the other day.
So life is good. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any questions you want to ask him? All right, I'm going to look and see if there are any questions that I need to answer. Oh, wrong glasses. Where are my glasses? Here they are. Okay, that's a small writing. I completed my 30-day detox and feeling great. Going to keep up going with it. Such an incredible way of life. Awesome, 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 Nikki. Right, where are we? I was on Prozac for panic attacks, but the Prozac worsened it, and it says so on the pamphlet. Exactly, Janie. That's exactly. There we go. Right. During the 130-day, I feel I got a voice now about my health instead of leaving it up to the doctors. That's fantastic. That is awesome. Best news ever. Thank you very much. I'm having to leave now for Crystal's training. All right. Anything else? We go up. Wrong mouse. Wrong mouse, wrong mouse. Go up that way. Hi, Bay. Lovely to meet you last week. Any other questions? No other questions. Looks like you're all there. Okay. From Pretoria, done the detox. Busy doing it now. I would love to do the 365. Yvette, looking forward to seeing you. I'm going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to get to know you all so well in the 365. You'll be like my kids or my family or my sisters and brothers. It's amazing. I've got family members on the program with me. It's amazing, amazing to see. So if you need to know more, ask your facilitator or contact Claudia at info@wholeworldwell.com. Doesn't look like there's any more questions, but it's been great having you all on here. This is recorded, so you can look at it afterwards, and you can send it to anybody else that you want to. So it's immediately recorded. I'm going to say good night and goodbye because nobody else is asking any questions. They're probably all shocked and ran away. All right. Thanks so much for your time. As I always say, thank you very much for letting me be part of your journey. I hope I've inspired you. Both of us have inspired you in some way tonight. And as we keep saying, we've all said it so many times, if you keep doing the same thing, expecting different results, you're actually losing your mind. AIM supplements are fantastic, but living in Europe, we can't order it from UK anymore. Where can I find some? Oh, Marina, that's so difficult. Apparently the whole Brexit thing has stopped being able to get it. AIM is working on it, and I think they're trying to get a depot in Europe in one of the Brexit countries, probably be something like Holland or Germany or Portugal or Spain or something. They're looking. We are looking for it. I don't know anything else that competes with it other than grow your own barley grass and juice it every morning. Juice your own organic carrots and juice your own beets. Other than that, if you know anybody from South Africa or the UK that's coming to visit you and they can put it in their hand luggage, people are allowed to bring their own supplements into the country, or they can put it in a case and send it to you maybe as a gift. Maybe they can wrap it up as a gift. Maybe that'll make a difference. But I know the AIM company is working on that to get the Barley Life and the products in there. It's so ridiculous. I mean, it's dried juice. You should be able to send it anywhere. So I think it's just the controls now because of the whole Brexit thing. They're trying to prove a point. Probably calm down like the COVID thing. The lockdowns and the Brexit will calm down in the next couple of years, and maybe it'll be easier. Who knows? Okay. Will this be available as a replay? Absolutely, it will. We're going to save it right now. Thank you both for your honesty. We're going to live this one down. All right. Thank you for listening. And Mark's going to save it now and post it straight away. Mm-hmm. That's how it works, okay? So I'm going to say good night, God bless, and stay well. See you next week.